All right, welcome back to Simply Trade Tips with Renee Chiuchiarelli and Julie Parks, better known as Hammer and Heels. Hi, Jules.
Hey, Renee.
How you doing today?
Great.
Good. As always, we're going to leave you with an FIO, figure it out, or call to action, in hopefully 10 minutes or less.
Great. In our baseball gear, Renee, what are we going to talk about? I don't know.
We're back in our baseball gear. I'm Los Angeles Dodgers, Detroit Tigers. Yeah. So as always, though, we're going to still leave you with a FIO, figure it out, in 5 or 10 minutes or less. So Jules, what should we talk about today?
So I think today's episode, we should talk about the last episode. We talked about elements of a difficult discussion. When you're a pitcher, you're the one that's kind of creating the discussion. I think today we should talk about when you're the catcher, and we should also frame that sometimes you're not always aware that it's going to be a difficult conversation because somebody is bringing something to you. So I think to start with, coming into meetings with all of this rigor, with kind of a set of just level-headedness. The discussion, don't have preconceived notions because that gets your heart rate going and it might create some discussion. Just really listen. And I think that's kind of really every meeting you should approach that way. But Renee, we have an acronym, right, for this one? Do you want to go over that?
Thank you. Yeah, of course. So last episode, we talked, like Julie said, it was the pitcher, and we introduced the acronym GGCC. And so Julie and I kept the same acronym for the catcher. We're going to make it easy for you guys. So GGCC. So let's talk about the first G, which is gratitude. The pitcher actually was, I'm just going to go back, it was greeting, right? So now... Yes. As the catcher, you're showing gratitude or gratefulness. And you might say something like, yeah, thank you for, I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me about this, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so then let's introduce the second G, Julie, which is gravity or groundwork.
Mm-hmm. Well, the groundwork was the other side. So that's the pitcher pitched groundwork and laid that groundwork. And I think what we're saying on the catcher side is that we want to respond with gravity, right? Acknowledge that you can find a solution together in the weight of the solution. Like, I understand that this is really weighing on you. I'm going to take this seriously. So I think it's kind of recognizing the gravity of the situation and giving words to the feelings that you might have in the discussion. Gosh, this is a really heavy discussion and it's really hard to have. I really appreciate you coming, but really do recognize that this is a weighty discussion and appreciate that you are bringing this.
Okay, perfect. Mm-hmm. And then the third is the first C, which we're calling in the catcher, clarify and commit. And this is, still, like Julie said in the beginning, we're receiving and listening. So we want to listen to the entire message and then actually recite back what you've heard so that, the pitcher is really understands that you did hear what they want you to solve with them.
Right, Renee. So that's things here. Under clarify, it's something like, let me understand this correctly. You're asking for whatever you're asking for. And it's really important to parrot it back because you might find that the pitcher, when they're pitching to you, they might go into sometimes if difficult conversations on there, it might turn into a little bit of rambling. So it's really important for you to kind of clarify that, is this really a request? And then kind of commit to the resolution of the problem. Okay, I heard that, and I'm really committed to kind of figuring this out together. And maybe there's some words in there about this is how I think we should approach, and maybe some actions that you both might take in this step as well.
Thank you, Julie.
I think Renee, our last C. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, the closing. So we're going to consider, comply, and or reject. Hopefully it's comply. Consider and comply if you're the pitcher. So you're going to end with your ability to comply or consider or reject. So you let the pitcher know that, hey, I've heard you, but I need to do 1, 2, 3, and I will let you know maybe. And, you might not always have the actual answer right in that conversation. They may have to do a follow-up and reconsider additional information. But that's what the closing will be, is they'll either tell you, hey, I'm going to consider this and I'll get back to you. Or maybe they'll just say right out of the gate, I'm going to comply. You're right. You know what? Billy Joe Bob is, causing issues for the team.
Right. And we were talking about kind of really an element of honesty here when you're the catcher. Sometimes these things do catch you off guard. Get it? But you do need to be honest about, I don't know a lot about this topic. Let me do some research. But I think the other part that you kind of want to commit to in the closing is a timeline as well, for kind of working through things, to set those expectations. Like, is this going to happen quickly, or is this going to be it takes a little bit more time because there's more stakeholders that need to be involved in the discussion. So I think in closing, making sure that you're talking about, look, I want to consider this, but I need to do other things and it's going to take me this long to do it. Or there might be, in rare instances, you might want to reject the concern right off the gate. I highly recommend that at least there's some think time between that difficult discussion and the go back of a reject, just to make sure that you're thinking clearly about the matter, or maybe talking to some other colleagues or something like that about how they feel. So we think that closing really needs to be very honest about, I've never heard this, but this is the first time. Let me process it for a moment. Or, gosh, you're right. It's time. It's time to consider raises, or it's time to consider promotions, that type of thing.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you, Julie.
Okay.
So, and just so you guys know, so we've spent in the previous episode talking about the pitcher. Now we're talking about the catcher, which is basically the listener. And then we're going to have our next episode, which is going to do a little role play. So we're going to put these two acronyms in place for you. And, we're going to round third base and get home. So please, you're going to have to listen to the last episode. And Julie, to once we get home, what's our FIO for this episode?
Yeah, so for this episode, we know that catchers sometimes are caught a little off guard with some of these discussions, but I think it's just time to take a pause and consider what people may ask of you. Perhaps things have been seeping in your organization for a while, or there's a new need that your boss might have, and it's a difficult discussion because, gosh, you might not have the time to do it. But it's just taking a pause to figure out what could people be having difficult discussions with you about, and just take inventory.
Yeah, take inventory, be aware. And also, please, like I said, enter to our community, get on board, and tell us if you've been able to do your FIO, figure it out. All right, we'll see you next time. We're going to hammer it out. Thanks, Julie.